Hi, my name is Don. I usually don't do too many videos or vlogs or anything, but I'm going to do one today on the 12 steps, just because I'm down here in Kansas City, Missouri, and I'm in a warehouse underground, and there's like hundreds and hundreds of warehouses down here, and they don't have any internet or anything, so what I'm going to do is just do a little vlog on the 12 steps, and it's actually based off a workshop that we've been involved with. There's been hundreds of people that have gone through this workshop, and it started in Las Vegas, Nevada. There's been I think a couple of them done in Phoenix, and what is called is the Design for Living workshop. And it's based off the 12 steps and the 164 pages of the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. So if you've ever been wondering about the 12 steps or how people get through the 12 steps, this is kind of a way that we came up with that's kind of based off of Clarence Snyder and Dr. Bob, and how they used to do this before 1943. When the 12 steps actually had like a 97% success rate. And it's real simple. And whether and this is like the purest, simplest form, and whether you've been in a 12-step program for 20 years and you haven't had a drink, but you're still irritable, restless, and discontented, or it's your second or third day, and the fog is cleared from your head and you're ready to jump into the steps and start a new life, then you might want to listen to this. What we've been doing has been highly successful, and it was successful in pre-1943, like you said, with a 97% success rate, and it's been proven to be successful today. There's tens of millions of people living a drug and alcohol free life, but on top of that, they're happy, joyous, and free, and it's productive. So this is just kind of I guess I would say, a synopsis of the 12 steps and how easy they are to get through, and the simplest way to do this, the simplest way, is the steps are outlined right in the book, so if you open your book and you go to page 30, it says, we learned we had to fully concede to our innermost self we were alcoholic. This is the first step in recovery. So in this workshop that we're doing, is we just say, we learned we had to fully concede to our innermost self. This is the first step in recovery. And then we ask a question: do you concede to your innermost self you're an alcoholic or you have a problem? And we go around the room, and everybody stands up and everybody says yes, and we go around the room, and after you say yes, you seat it. So, once you've learned that you fully conceded to your innermost self, you're an alcoholic, congratulations, you're ready to go on to step 2. This is real simple stuff. The second step's on page 47, and it says that, we had to find a power greater than ourselves. And what that means is let me look that up and get that exactly right. On the it's on page 47, and I usually have it. We needed to ask ourselves but one short question: do I believe, or am I even willing to believe, in a power greater than myself? So, if you believe, or if you're even willing to believe in a power greater than yourself. And if you answer yes to that question, you've completed the second step. That's how easy this program is. And they made this thing simple because they knew they were dealing with alcoholics and people that were, really suffering and didn't have all their faculties, and they had to get them through to a new path of life. So that's basically the second step. Now what happens is, you got to go back and grow in understanding and effectiveness, and that comes in step 10, but you'll see that. So if you've answered yes that you have a problem or you're an alcoholic, you've answered yes that you believe that there's a power greater than yourself, then congratulations, you're on step 3. And step 3 says, being convinced. We are now at step 3. So if you're convinced you're an alcoholic, and you're convinced that there's a power greater than yourself, then you're ready for the first requirement. The first requirement is any life run on self-will could hardly be a success. So we see this all the time in 12-step programs, that people come in and, you know, they have all their own little plans and designs. You know, I'm going to be a counselor, I'm going to do this, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to fix my credit score, I'm going to, you know, all kinds of stuff, you know, and gonna sign up for the gym, you know, but they don't want to do the 12 steps, you know, and these 12 steps are so easy. And so people come in and instead of running off of God's will, they're running off their own will, you know, and it says it could hardly be a success, and I've seen it many times, and it is hardly a success. So on step 3, you know, on page 62, it says we have to quit playing God, you know. And so if you can accept the fact that the first requirement is any life run on self-will could hardly be a success, you know, you can quit playing God, you know, become one of his agents. And on page 63, it says, you know, if we do these things, if we put our own little plans and designs to the side, remarkable things will happen. You know, and that's what I found in my life. You know, by doing these things, remarkable things have happened in my life. You know, and we'll go over step 3 just a little bit. You know, and step 3 is made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood them. You know, and it says that, you know, if we put our own little plans and designs to the side, you know, and we accept God as a new employer, that we work for God. Our whole job is to lead people to God, and remarkable things will happen. If we kept close to him and performed his work well, established on such a footing, we became less and less interested in ourselves and our own little plans and designs, and more interested in seeing what we can contribute to life, you know, as we felt a new power flow in. That's one thing that you hear in a lot in 12-step programs. Oh, we're powerless. But, you know, in the book right here, it says we felt a new power flow in. You know, and it says we need to be reborn. You know, and I believe this is in a spiritual sense, because we're already physically reborn, so we need to be spiritually born or reborn. And so the way that we do this is we make a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understand him. And then we say something like this: God, I offer myself to thee, to build with thee and do with me as thou wilt. Relieve me of bondage of self, I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I'd help. Thy power, thy love, thy way of life, may I do thy will always. So with that, you know, and you can go over that prayer. It's on page 63. You know, when you make your decision to turn your will and your life over to the care of God, and that'll put you on step 4. You know, step 4 is, to me, it was easy. A lot of people have different ways of doing it. For me, I like to use what's right out of the book. We make a list, you know, of people that we have grudges against. And it says we make a list of people that we're angry at, you know, resentment. So we make a list of resentments. So, you know, you just take out a sheet of paper, put resentments, make 3 columns, put resentments, you know, write everybody that you're resentful at. The next column, why are you resentful at them and what it's affecting. If it's affecting your pride, your ego, there's self, you know, if it's causing you self-pity, you know, what character defect, greed, lust, anger, the 7 deadly sins, you know, and you make that list. And here's a little kind of something you can look at. Maybe you can see that. You know, that's the way they do it, with the 3-column way. And just make a list. And what it affects. You know, it says it affects my sex relations, my self-esteem, my self security, personal relationships, fear, So you write those down. So, and then the next list you write is a fears list. And the fears list is just something you just write down, things that you're fearful of. Why are you fearful of, and what it affects. The same with your sex relations. Write down people that you've had relationships with. You know, uh, what where did you go wrong in these relationships? That's what you're looking for, where you caused people to be jealous, or you did this, or you did that, or you were selfish, you were dishonest. And you write all these things down. And then after that, you're set for your fifth step. It's really simple. And it says resentment is the number one offender. It destroys more alcoholics than anything else. So you make a list of these things, and at this point, if you have a big book, you can open that up and go over the fourth step and look it over and make your list. Then you can give me a call at 775-299-6586 and say, hey, I saw your video, and I made my list, or, I need some advice about the fourth step. I'm getting ready to write it out. And I'll go ahead and talk to you about the fourth step, and we can hammer that out. And then you're ready for your fifth step. The fifth step, basically you just read it. You admit it to God, to yourself, and to another human being, the exact nature of your wrongs. So once you read this and you get all this out on paper, and to me, the fifth step is to look over your past life, to make sure you don't make these same mistakes going on into your new life. And you learn from your past. You get it out on paper, and you take a self-appraisal. And the items that are helping you in your life, then you keep those items, and the ones that are aren't helping you get rid of. It's just that simple. And and we got to get, it's like a business that takes inventory. That's all it is. Once you've completed that, that you're ready for the sixth step. And it says we want all these things that are removed, that are objectionable. And to me, the things that are holding us up in our life, and the things that we want to avoid like the plague, are the 7 deadly sins: greed, lust, pride, envy, gluttony, sloth. What was the other one? I think I missed one there. But greed, pride, envy, gluttony, sloth, anger. Yeah, that's a big one. It's the number one. Resentment is part of anger. So what I would do, what we do in the workshop is we ask you, are you ready to have all these things removed that are objectionable? And we go around the room, everybody stands up and says yes or no, and and if you're ready to have everything, all these things that have been causing you pain and problems and in your life, and you've looked at those, you've done a self-appraisal, then you're ready for step 7, which step 7 is, my Creator, I'm now willing that you should have all of me, good and bad. I pray you remove from me every single defective character which stands in the way of my usefulness to you and to my fellows. Grant me the strength as I go out from here to do your bidding. Amen. That's all it is. The 7th step is right in the book on page 76. There's no other way to do the 7th step. So congratulations. If you've done your 4th and 5th step, you've asked God to remove everything that was objectionable. You said the 7th step prayer, you're on the 8th step. The 8th step, it says we have a list. So we take this list, and usually it's the people that we've had relationships with, people that we have resentments against. Usually, 99.9% of the time we owe those people an amends, because we played a part in all these personal relationships. So we have our little list, and it says, the 9th step is we need to make amends to these people. But before we go out and make amends, There's two other steps that should come first, in my own personal opinion. And it's not really my personal opinion, it's what it says in the book. And I go by the book. And what it says on page 84, it says, as we clean up the past. So before we go out and clean up this past, we want to be living in the world of the spirit. So it says on page 84, this thought brings us to step 10, which suggests that we take personal inventory and set right any new mistakes. So we, as we're working step 10, we don't want to make any new mistakes in our life, like the ones we went over in the 5th step. And it says, we have entered the world of the spirit. Our next function is to grow in understanding and effectiveness. We continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. So that's what I do with step 10 is I watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. There's no other way to do step 10, and so step 10 and step 11 is a routine that leads you into your new life as you're cleaning up your past. And the way, if you're in a 12-step program, there's no other way to do this. It says it right in the book on page 86. It says, on awakening, let us think about the next 24 hours ahead. On awakening, to me, is when my mind's eye opens up in the morning. And what we do is, the first thing that pops into my mind is, I say, God, please direct my thinking, especially it be divorced from self-pity, dishonesty, and self-seeking motives. Then I read over page 86, 87, 88. I say the 3rd step prayer. I say the 7th step prayer because it says to say those. It says to memorize those. Memorize a few sets of prayers. So that's what I do. I wake up in the morning. I ask God to direct my thinking, especially be divorced from self-pity, dishonesty, and self-seeking motives. After that, I start looking for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear throughout the day, identifying that. If it crops up, I think of things to do to maybe help other people, or maybe think about the workshop, or I change my whole thought pattern. And then what happens is at night I do what's called a nightly review, where we constructively review our day. I found it's best to call somebody. I've been doing that for years. I call a friend. I call Tim Bell, and we usually do a nightly review. We did one last night where we review our day. Were we selfish? Were we dishonest? Were we resentful? Were we fearful? We constructively review our day, see what we can do better the next day, and then we ask God to forgive us. So this kind of a little overview, I guess you would say, of the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. They're very simple. They can be done in hours. And the whole thing of it is, one of the big keys is on step 10, you go and grow back in understanding. So if you go back and it's kind of like any book you study, or the Bible, or whatever you're into. If you study it long enough, and you get a deeper understanding. And so this is a way to get you started into a 12-step life. And it's pretty simple. If you have a guide, what they call a guide in AA is like a sponsor, or a spiritual advisor, or something like that can walk you through this. But the workshops in Las Vegas, and you can get a hold of Tim Bell at 702-557-8233, and ask him about the workshop. There's usually one a month, and it's all over Las Vegas in different locations. Mainly it started out at the central office in Las Vegas, so it's usually there. Sometimes it's at a place called the meeting space, but there's several different locations that they do the workshop. So give them a call if you're interested in doing something like that. And after you go through the 12 steps, and you're on the AA beam, or the 12-step beam, then you can come back and participate and help out and take other people through the 12 steps. So whether you've been involved in AA or in the 12-step program for years and years, or it's your first month, you can get through these steps and you can start helping other people right away. So that's just kind of an overview of the Design for Living workshop. So give Tim a call if you're interested in that, or give me a call. I left my number there if you want to do your 5th step. And peace out.